From Will Smith slapping Chris Rock in front of the whole world, to Jada breaking the news that they've been secretly separated since 2016, the Smiths have been all over headlines lately. But what most people don't know about is the shocking true story behind Jada's relationship with Tupac back in the day and how Will got caught up in it all. So today, we're breaking the entire situation down. Jada Smith was raised in Baltimore and didn't have an easy come up in the city. Her parents had her when they were in high school, and the relationship didn't last more than a few months. Jada's mom tried to hold it down and raise her right, but when Jada was growing up, she was fighting a serious heroin addiction. She was exposed to the streets at a young age, and the only person who helped her get away from it was her grandma, who paid for her piano and dance lessons. Jada was always into art, but at the same time, she was surrounded by hustlers and drug dealers and had to do whatever it took to survive. Even though she got into the Baltimore School for the Arts, she still had one foot in the streets and was moving weight at the same time she was trying to build an acting career. Most rap fans know Tupac for repping the West Coast and going to war against Biggie and the rest of the East Coast, but he was actually born in East Harlem, New York. Pac's parents were both active members of the Black Panther Party, and his mom, Afeni Shakur, has a wild story that most people have no idea about. On January 17, 1969, 3 police quarters in New York were attacked by the Panthers. They planted dynamite to try and blow the stations up, but there were 3 undercover cops inside the crew that messed up their plans. The dynamite at the Bronx station was replaced with fake sticks, and the only thing that popped off was a harmless blasting cap. The station in Manhattan had fake sticks too, but the Panthers didn't even light the fuse right, so nothing blew up. And at the Queens Board of Education office, some real dynamite blew a hole in the side of the building. The cops booked a 19-year-old outside the Queens office while 2 other dudes ran off. They left a rifle behind, and the police claimed that the Panthers were going to shoot them after everyone ran from the burning building. A few months later, Pac's mom, Afeni, and 20 other Black Panthers were booked for the attacks, and they became known as the Panther 21. When the trial finally started 2 years later in 1971, Afeni was pregnant with Pac and facing a 300-year prison sentence. She didn't go to law school or have any experience in the courtroom, but she still decided to defend herself instead of hiring a lawyer. At the time, it was the longest and most expensive trial in New York history. Afeni interviewed witnesses and argued with the prosecutors, and when it was all over, she managed to get acquitted against all odds. Pac's mom and dad weren't the only Panthers in the family though. His stepdad Mutulu was involved with robbing an armored truck in 1981 and spent 4 years on the FBI's list of 10 most wanted fugitives in the world. His godfather Elmer Pratt went down for murdering a teacher during a robbery, and his godmother Asada was convicted of murdering a state trooper in New Jersey and has been on the run since the 70s. Obviously, beating the case was huge for Afeni, but the drama didn't end there. Just like Jada, Pac saw his mom going through drug addiction, and in '84, they moved to Baltimore. Pac started going to the Baltimore School for the Arts in the 10th grade, and that's when he met Jada for the first time. Pac was studying acting, poetry, jazz, and ballet, and he hit it off with Jada from the jump. They bonded over their crazy home lives, and in 2014, Jada went on the Arsenio Hall show and said that Pac was the first dude in life who really supported her. At the same time they were becoming best friends, Will was already on his way up in the music industry. Will had linked up with DJ Jazzy Jeff after they met at a house party, and their track, Parents Just Don't Understand, hit number 12 on the Billboard Hot 100 and won a Grammy for Best Rap Performance. What's really crazy about the situation is that there's an old video of Pac and Jada lip-singing and dancing to the track before they ever met Will. Pac and Jada were crazy close, but she says they were always just friends.
A lot of people think that Tupac and I had a romantic relationship, and we did not. I really want to stress that.
Yes.
We did not have a romantic relationship, even though we were really close.
She said that they kissed one time just to see how it felt, and it was disgusting for both of them, and they just moved on from it. Pac ended up moving to California before his senior year, and that's when he started taking rap seriously. He dropped his debut album, Tupacalypse Now, in '91, and it was clear from the jump that he was bringing in a whole new wave of rap. Will Smith was running up huge numbers and winning Grammys with rhymes like, "I remember one year, my mom took me school shopping. It was me, my brother, my mom, oh my pop, and my little sister. All hopped in the car, we headed downtown to the Gallery Mall. My mom started bugging with the clothes she chose. I didn't say nothing at first, I just turned up my nose." But when Pac dropped his debut single, Trapped, the vice president of the US said, "There's no reason for a record like this to be published. It has no place in our society." Pac came into the rap industry swinging. He rapped about police brutality, violence in the streets, and was obviously influenced by all the Black Panthers in his family history. On his track Trapped, Pac rapped, "Tired of being trapped in this vicious cycle. If one more cop harasses me, I just might go psycho. And when I get him, I'll hit him with a bum rush. Only a lunatic would like to see a skull crushed. Yo, if you're smart, you'll really let me go, G. But keep me cooped up in this ghetto and catch the Uzi. Pac wasn't just popping off in the rap game though. He also got a part in the movie Nothing But Trouble, and in '92, he got the lead role in Juice. Jada had dropped out of college and was getting into acting at the same time. Her first big break happened when she got a role on a show called A Different World, and in '93, she even got pocket spotted in an episode. Getting the show was huge for Jada, but she always wanted to be in movies, and Pac is the one who got her the first shot. He was supposed to be in Menace to Society and ended up getting fired, but he still got her the gig. Over the next couple of years, Pac and Jada's careers were blowing up, but they were in totally different lanes. Jada was becoming a movie star, while Pac was taking over the gangster rap game with some of the most savage bars anyone had ever heard. And in the same year he helped Jada get her first movie, he was booked for shooting 2 off-duty cops in Atlanta. The police claimed that Pac and his homies almost hit Mark and Scott Whitwell while they were crossing the street with their wives. Then Pac started letting off shots and hit both of the cops. Other witnesses said that Pac and his crew shot back in self-defense because Mark Whitwell was busting at them first though. Pac was booked on 2 aggravated assault charges, but later news broke that one of the cops had a stolen gun out of a police evidence room and the whole situation was sketchy. The case ended up getting dropped, but then something went down that changed Pac forever and ruined his relationship with Jada too. In November 1994, Pac went to Quad Studios to record a feature with a dude named Lil Sean. Biggie and Diddy were already at the spot working that night, but when Pac walked into the building lobby, he got jumped and robbed by 3 dudes. He tried to put up a fight and ended up getting shot, and that's when his beef with the East Coast really started. Biggie and Pac were tight before the shooting, but after the shooting, Pac started to think that Biggie was involved with setting them up. Pac was already fighting a sexual assault case he caught in '93, and a month after the shooting, he got locked up in Bellevue Hospital prison ward, then moved to Rikers Island after he recovered. Even though Pac and Jada were never in a relationship, it's clear that they had a crazy bond. While he was locked up on Rikers, Tupac wrote her a poem that said, "You are the omega of my heart, the foundation for my conception of love. When I think of what a black woman should be, it's you that I first think of. You will never fully understand how deeply my heart feels for you. I worry that we'll grow apart and I'll end up losing you." And at the end of it, he even said that Jada made him climax without sex. Before her autobiography came out, Jada went on All the Smoke and talked about Pac's time on Rikers. She said that when she went to visit him, he was in a really bad place and felt like he didn't have any support. Jada claims that he actually proposed to her while he was locked up, but she said no because he was just looking for some stability and she didn't think he actually wanted to be married to her.
So when he asked me to get married, he was at Rikers. And I knew at that time that he needed somebody to do time with him, which I was gonna do anyway.
Some people aren't buying Jada's story though. After the All the Smoke interview dropped, a TikTok user named Jess aired Jada out for capping about Pac's proposal. Jada said she saw Pac in Rikers, but he was only there for a month before they transferred him to Clinton Correctional Facility in Dannemora, New York.
The math isn't mathing, so let's take a look. Tupac was convicted of sexual assault charges on February 8th, 1995. From there, he was sent to Rikers Prison, only to be transferred less than a month later.
Jess doesn't think Jada would have had time to even visit him in jail, plus Pac was already engaged at the time.
Cool. So prior to going into Rikers, Tupac already had a girlfriend named Keisha. He proposed to Keisha, her words.
Pac was dating a woman named Keisha Morris and had proposed to her a few months before he got locked up. They ended up getting married while Pac was locked up, and Keisha was the one who helped him set up the meeting with Suge Knight at Death Row Records. Pac's mom was about to lose her house, and he couldn't afford to bond out of jail, so he linked up with Suge, and that's when everything changed. Suge Knight is one of the most feared dudes in rap history. Death Row Records is famous for being full of real street goons that Suge brought in, and Suge ran the label like a mob boss. There are stories about him pistol whipping rappers for using the phone without permission, threatening to kill people over contract issues, and beating his own employees up over nothing. After Suge met Pac in prison, he called out Diddy and the rest of the East Coast at the '95 Source Awards, and that's what sparked the beef that ended with Pac and Biggie both getting killed. Jada says she was worried about Pac linking up with Suge, but there was nothing she could do to stop it.
I was really concerned about Suge. I was really concerned. Now, mind you, he was still in jail when he told me. I remember we were in Dannemora. I talk about it in the book. And I was with Light and Nefertiti. We went up there to see Pac in Dannemora. And he said, that he was going to sign with Suge.
Before he went to jail, Jada said Pac was trying to change for the better, but his time behind bars made him go full savage. Pac's first albums were definitely gangster rap, but he had a lot of political messages and wanted to help black people make it out of the cycle of violence and police brutality. After he linked up with Suge and Death Row, that all changed. Getting shot and thinking his homies crossed him, then going straight to jail definitely changed Pac. When he finally came home, he hopped right in the booth and recorded one of the most savage diss tracks ever. On the track Hit 'Em Up, Tupac took the East Coast West Coast beef to another level and rapped, "First off, fuck your bitch and the clique you claim. West side when we ride, come equipped with game. You claim to be a player, but I fucked your wife. We bust on bad boys, niggas fucked for life." Jada said that Pac getting deeper into the gangster lifestyle and image caused a huge fight between them.
What was the thing that broke you guys up in terms of a friendship?
I just wasn't in agreement with the direction that he was taking, and I just told him that, you know, it was a destructive direction.
A scary direction.
A very scary direction, and he felt as though, you know, I had changed. I got Hollywood.
Right.
She was trying to leave all the street drama behind and make it in the movie business, but Pac was going the opposite way, and she wanted to stop him. The situation got so bad that they ended up not speaking for a couple of years, and then Pac was tragically murdered before they had the chance to make up. Another thing that caused a split between Pac and Jada was her relationship with Will Smith. Jada and Will started dating in '95, and Jada was worried that Pac might do something to him. According to Napoleon from The Outlaws, Pac had nothing but love and respect for Jada and would never have crashed out on Will like that. Napoleon said Pac's feelings were hurt after Jada asked him that because he thought she trusted him more than that. Jada's friendship with Tupac had Will intimidated too, though. By the time Pac was coming up in the industry, Will was already a superstar. He had Grammys under his belt, movies, and even his own TV show. But in 2020, he told The Breakfast Club that he was still jealous of Pac and Jada's relationship.
Were you ever jealous of the love Jada had for Tupac?
Oh, fuck yeah.
I thought you were gonna say no.
Oh my God, that dude. And that was in the early days.
Yeah.
Will said that he was in the same room with Pac a few times while he was with Jada, but he could never talk to him because he was always intimidated. Jada said Pac and Will definitely would have been homies if Pac didn't get killed in Vegas, but unfortunately, that's not how the situation played out. According to rumors, Will and Jada have always had issues because of how everything went down with Pac. They've been married since the 90s, but obviously things didn't really work out like they planned. Jada says they've been separated for 7 years, and Will is so pressed about the situation that he slapped Chris Rock at the Oscars just for making a joke about her hair. Some people think Will and Jada never moved on because her bond with Tupac was way stronger than what they have. In an interview with Rollin' Out, Jada said that Pac was her soulmate.
I think this kind of romanticized idea of like a soulmate. You know, there's all kinds of definitions of soulmate. If there is such a thing as past lives, definitely think Pac and I have traveled a few together.
And even though she said it never went past them being friends, it makes sense that Will would feel some type of way about the whole thing.